I saw the pictures from Parliament yesterday, just like everyone else. Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, with tears in her eyes. It was a raw, human moment in a place that often feels anything but. Some people were quick to jump in, to call it weakness, to say she couldn't handle the pressure. They said a man wouldn't be treated the same. But I saw something different. I saw the immense weight that comes with that job, a weight felt not just by her, but by millions of people across this country and beyond. It was a crack in the political armor, and through it you could see a glimpse of a real person carrying an incredible burden. That single moment seemed to capture so much of what people are feeling right now. It's the exhaustion, the quiet desperation, the feeling that you're doing your best, but the pressure just keeps mounting. We see it in the faces of nurses finishing a 12-hour shift, in the worries of parents trying to afford the weekly shop, and in the young people who look at the future and wonder what it holds for them. It's a collective ache, a shared sense of struggle. When someone in a position of power shows that they feel it too, it reminds us that behind the titles and the politics, we are all just people trying to navigate these incredibly tough times. This isn't about one political party or another. It's about the human cost of the world we live in. We've been told for so long to be strong, to keep a stiff upper lip, to just get on with it. But there comes a point when the pressure is too much. That moment in the Commons wasn't weakness. To me, it looked like a profound expression of empathy, a sign that the pain of the nation had found its way into the very heart of government. It was a reminder that leadership isn't about being untouchable. It's about understanding the struggles of the people you serve and feeling the responsibility of their trust. What we need now isn't tough talk or political point scoring. We need fairness. We need respect. And we need a bit of kindness. We need to see each other not as rivals in a political game, but as fellow human beings trying to find our way. The world can feel incredibly harsh, but these moments of vulnerability can bring us together. They show us our shared humanity. They ask us to stop shouting and start listening, to offer a hand instead of pointing a finger, and to remember that even in the highest offices, a little bit of heart can go a very long way. I remember the day of the Hillsborough disaster. I was a young footballer and the news just stopped everyone in their tracks. The confusion, the horror, the sheer crushing sadness of it all. I didn't understand how something like that could happen at a football match, a place of joy and community. I asked my dad so many questions, trying to make sense of the senseless. He didn't have all the answers, but he told me something I've never forgotten. He said that when people suffer, the most important thing is to stand with them, to share their pain, and to never ever let them be forgotten. That day taught me about a different kind of pain, one that belongs to a whole community. That lesson in empathy has stayed with me. Life has a way of teaching you that everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. I've had my own struggles, times when I felt completely lost, like I'd been knocked clean off my feet. There was a period in my life when things were incredibly difficult and I felt a deep sense of failure. It felt like I was at the bottom of a well, looking up at a tiny circle of light. It's a lonely place to be, and you start to believe you'll never get out. You feel like you've let everyone down, especially yourself. But then something remarkable happened. Someone reached out. It wasn't a grand gesture, just a quiet word of support, a simple act of kindness from someone who saw I was struggling. They didn't offer solutions or tell me what to do, they just listened. That simple act changed everything. It was a lifeline. It reminded me that I wasn't alone and that it was okay to be not okay. It showed me that falling down isn't the end. The real test is whether you can find the strength, with a little help from others, to get back up again, to learn from your mistakes and to move forward. That experience taught me that we all have the power to change someone's life. A small act of compassion can be the difference between someone giving up and finding the will to carry on. It's about recognizing the humanity in each other, especially when times are tough. We see so much division, so much focus on what separates us. But deep down, we all need the same things: fairness, respect, and the knowledge that if we fall, someone will be there to help us up. That's the foundation of any decent society, and it's something we need to remember now more than ever. I want to tell you a story about two people who, on the surface, had nothing in common. One was a young man full of ideas but with no money and feeling a bit lost after finishing his studies. The other was an older man, homeless, who spent his days on a cold pavement watching the world rush by. Every day the young man would pass him and they'd exchange a simple nod. One day, instead of just walking past, the young man sat down and started a conversation. He didn't offer pity, he offered respect. He learned that the older man, whose name was David, was a skilled carpenter who had fallen on hard times. The young man, let's call him Sam, had an idea. He wanted to start a small business making and selling bespoke wooden furniture, but he didn't know the first thing about woodworking. David had the skills, but no tools, no workshop, and no way to start over. Sam saw an opportunity not for profit, but for partnership. He used the little savings he had to rent a small garage space and buy some second-hand tools. He told David, let's do this together, your skill, my energy. We'll be partners, 50-50, right down the middle. It was a simple offer built on trust and a belief in another person's worth. At first, it was a struggle. They made mistakes. Some days they barely made enough to cover the rent on the garage. David had to learn to trust again, to feel the pride of his craft after years of being ignored. Sam had to learn patience and the reality of running a business when you have nothing. But they never gave up on each other. They built their little company on a foundation of honesty and care. They made beautiful things and they treated every customer with the same respect they showed each other. Their reputation grew, not just for the quality of their work, but for the story behind it. Their business eventually flourished. They were able to hire other people who had been struggling, giving them a chance just like Sam had given David. They created more than just furniture, they built a community. Their story shows us something powerful. It shows that talent and worth can be found anywhere, often in the places we least expect. It proves that a little bit of faith in someone, a belief in fairness, and a willingness to work together can create something truly special. It's a reminder that we can build a better world, one honest partnership at a time, treating everyone with the dignity they deserve. It's a strange world we live in, isn't it? We celebrate nurses, doctors, and teachers as heroes. We clap for them, and, well, rightly so. They are the backbone of our country. A newly qualified nurse working long, stressful hours to save lives pays around £3,000 a year in income tax and national insurance. They don't question it. They know it's their contribution to the society they serve. They pay their fair share. But then you look at the other end of the scale, and the numbers just don't seem to add up. The system doesn't feel fair, and that sense of injustice is growing stronger every day. Now think about this. There are individuals in this country, billionaires, who might make over £1 billion in a single year from their investments. Yet, due to loopholes, different tax rules for wealth versus work, and clever accounting, some of them can end up paying a proportionally lower rate of tax than that nurse. How can that be right? How can the person saving lives in an underfunded hospital be asked to contribute a bigger slice of their small income than someone who has more money than they could spend in 100 lifetimes? It's a fundamental breakdown of fairness that eats away at the trust people have in the system. Imagine for a moment what could be different. Experts say that if just a handful of the UK's wealthiest people paid tax at a rate that was truly fair and comparable to what ordinary workers pay, it could raise billions of pounds. Billions. That's not a small change. It's a transformational amount of money. Think what that could do. We could build new hospitals and properly staff them. We could give our schools the resources they need to give every child the best possible start in life. We could build affordable, decent homes for families who are struggling to keep a roof over their heads. This isn't about punishing success. It's about fairness and responsibility. It's about creating a society where everyone contributes properly and where the rewards of our collective efforts are shared more equitably. When people see a system that seems rigged in favor of the super rich, it creates anger and division. It undermines the very idea of a team, of all being in it together. A fair tax system is the first step towards rebuilding that trust. It's about ensuring that the people who benefit the most from our society also contribute the most to keeping it strong and healthy for everyone. You turn on the television or scroll through your phone and you're hit with a wall of noise. It feels like everyone is shouting, but nobody is listening. The news often frames every issue as a battle, left versus right, rich versus poor, us versus them. It's a constant diet of division. In the UK, the debate is often presented as this two-tier system, but it rarely dives into the real human stories behind the headlines. In the US, it's even more extreme, with news channels that seem more interested in stoking anger than reporting facts. It's confusing, it's exhausting, and honestly, it's designed to keep us apart. This division serves a purpose, but it's not for our benefit. It makes it harder for us to see what we have in common. It distracts us from the real issues, like the fact that while we argue amongst ourselves, a very small number of people are doing very well out of the chaos. We need to start asking who benefits from all this fighting. Who profits when we are too busy being angry with our neighbors to notice the bigger picture? The truth is, a divided public is a weak public, unable to come together and demand real, meaningful change from those in power. And then there's a darker, more hidden truth. While our screens are filled with images of conflict from around the world, there's a story that's rarely told. It's the story of the arms dealers, the massive corporations that profit from war itself. Reports show that some of these companies sell weapons and military technology to both sides in a conflict. Think about that for a second. They are profiting from the suffering, the destruction, the loss of life on all sides. For them, peace is bad for business. A prolonged war with endless fighting is where the real money is made. This is the ultimate division. They are literally fueling the fire and then selling the fire extinguishers, making a fortune from human misery. They have no allegiance to a flag or a people, only to their balance sheet. And while they get richer, families are torn apart, cities are turned to rubble, and a generation of children grows up surrounded by violence and fear. We must not be blind to this. We must not let the noise of our own small squabbles distract us from this horrifying reality. We need to seek the truth, demand accountability, and work for a world where peace is more profitable than war. We need to stop seeing life as a war. Politics isn't war, society isn't war, it's more like football. On a pitch you have 11 players. They all have different skills, different roles, different strengths and weaknesses. The striker can't win the game alone, and neither can the goalkeeper. They succeed only when they work together, when they trust each other, when they pass the ball, and when they cover for each other's mistakes. They play for the badge on the front of the shirt, not the name on the back. That's what a real community should feel like. A team pulling in the same direction. Right now it feels like we're being encouraged to play against each other. The media, some politicians, they want to turn us into rival fans, hating each other just because we wear different colors. But we are all on the same team. We all want a good life for our families, a safe community, and a hopeful future for our children. We need to stop listening to the managers who want us to foul each other and start playing as a team. Let's play football, not war. Let's build things together, celebrate each other's successes, and help a teammate when they get tackled hard. It's easy to lose hope. When you see injustice, when you feel like the system is rigged, it's easy to think that nothing will ever change. But that's when we have to dig deepest. Remember that every great team has faced defeat. Every player has missed a penalty or made a mistake that cost a goal. But the great ones don't give up. They get back up, they go to training the next day. They learn, they adapt, and they come back stronger. We have to do the same. If you fall, you get up. If you stumble, you learn from it. You don't let the loss define you, so let's stand together. Let's look out for one another. Let's demand fairness from the top and show kindness at the bottom. Let's build our own teams in our own communities based on respect and support. Forget the noise that's meant to divide us and listen for the quiet call for unity. We are stronger together than we are apart. We have it within us to change the game. Don't ever forget that. No matter how many times you get knocked down, you can always rise up again, stronger and more determined than before.